The First World War ended in 1918. It had been a devastating conflict. Millions died. Europe was in ruins. But the peace that followed was not to last. Nationalism was a major factor in the outbreak of World War II. It can lead to a desire for power and expansion. Germany, Italy, and Japan felt aggrieved after World War I. Economic instability also played a role. The Great Depression worsened the global economy. Extreme ideologies flourished. The League of Nations proved ineffective. This paved the way for aggression and conflict. In the years between the wars, dictators rose to power in several countries. These leaders exploited the difficult conditions to seize control. They promised stability and strength, but ruled with an iron fist. In Germany, Adolf Hitler and his Nazi party came to power in 1933. Hitler was a charismatic but ruthless leader. He preached a message of German superiority and blamed other groups for Germany's problems. He rapidly rearmed Germany, violating the Treaty of Versailles. Benito Mussolini took control of Italy in 1922. He established a fascist dictatorship. Mussolini also sought to expand Italian power through military aggression. He invaded Ethiopia in 1935. Japan, under Emperor Hirohito, was also becoming increasingly militaristic. Military leaders like Hideki Tojo gained influence. They sought to establish Japanese dominance in Asia. Japan invaded Manchuria in 1931, marking the start of its expansionist campaign. The Treaty of Versailles officially ended World War I, but it also created new problems that contributed to the outbreak of World War II. The treaty placed harsh punishments on Germany. Germany had to accept blame for the war. It lost territory and was forced to pay heavy reparations. This caused resentment and economic hardship in Germany. Many Germans felt the treaty was unfair and humiliating. This made them more receptive to Hitler's message. He promised to restore German pride and power. The treaty also failed to address the underlying issues that had led to war. Nationalism, imperialism, and the arms race continued to plague Europe. The League of Nations, created to maintain peace, proved too weak to prevent aggression. The Great Depression was a worldwide economic crisis that began in 1929. It had a profound impact on the world and contributed to the rise of extremism. The Depression caused widespread unemployment, poverty, and social unrest. People lost their jobs and homes. They became increasingly desperate and disillusioned with their governments. This made extremist movements more appealing. Hitler and other dictators offered simple solutions to complex problems. They promised to restore order and prosperity. Their message resonated with people who felt they had nothing left to lose. The Depression also led to protectionism. Countries tried to protect their own economies by raising tariffs and restricting trade. This hurt international cooperation and worsened the economic situation. Section 5, the spark ignites, from Poland to Pearl Harbor. By the late 1930s, Europe was on the brink of war. Hitler's Germany had become increasingly aggressive. He annexed Austria in 1938 and demanded the Sudetenland from Czechoslovakia. In September 1939, Germany invaded Poland. This act of aggression triggered a response from Great Britain and France, which declared war on Germany. World War II had begun. Japan, allied with Germany and Italy, also expanded its aggression. It launched a surprise attack on Pearl Harbor, Hawaii on December 7, 1941. This drew the United States into the war. The world was now engulfed in a global conflict. Millions of soldiers and civilians were mobilized. The war would rage for 6 long years, leaving a trail of devastation in its wake. Section 6, Life on the Home Front, a World at War. World War II touched lives globally. Even those far from the front lines felt the impact. Life changed dramatically on the home front. Rationing was introduced in many countries. Women played a vital role in the war effort. They took on jobs traditionally held by men. Children were also affected by the war. Some were evacuated for safety. Section 7. Victory and loss, the end of an era. After 6 years of devastating warfare, World War II finally ended in 1945. The Allied powers, led by Great Britain, the United States, and the Soviet Union, emerged victorious. Germany and Japan surrendered after suffering heavy losses. Hitler committed suicide in his bunker as Soviet forces closed in on Berlin. Japan surrendered after the atomic bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. The war had a profound impact on the world. Millions of people had died, both soldiers and civilians. Cities lay in ruins. The global economy was in shambles. The war also led to significant political changes. The United States and the Soviet Union emerged as the world's two superpowers. Their rivalry would shape the post-war world. Section 8. A legacy remembered, lessons from the war. World War II was a defining moment in human history. It left an indelible mark on the world and continues to shape our lives today. The war taught us the importance of international cooperation and the need to stand up to tyranny and aggression. It also highlighted the horrors of war and the importance of diplomacy and peaceful resolution of conflicts. The war led to the creation of the United Nations, a successor to the League of Nations. The UN was founded on the principle of collective security and the goal of preventing future wars. World War II serves as a stark reminder of the fragility of peace and the importance of learning from the mistakes of the past. It is a legacy that we must never forget.